Hello, welcome to Tantra with Courtney, and I'm your favorite coach, Courtney. Today we're going to be talking about something that's not so sexy, not so out there, but it's really important. It has everything to do with the future of male sexuality. And we're going to talk about circumcision. Despite its normalization in the Western culture, we see these perfectly cut porn dicks. We see most of our friends, our lovers have circumcised penis. This is the norm, right? And I believe this is the norm for all the wrong reasons. And the lack of education out there about the permanent damage that circumcision does do to infant boys into their adulthood. If there was more education and information on that, not a doubt in my mind that parents would stop electing to have this done on their infant boys. So I want to give you guys the breakdown on the history of circumcision. If you found out how this started, you would know that it was bullshit. Routine infant circumcision started in about 1870s with Dr. Harvey Kellogg. And his idea was to implement this protocol for baby boys to discourage them from masturbating. So this, along with cornflakes, was part of his anti-masturbation campaign. This guy never consummated his marriage, didn't have a healthy relationship at all with sexuality. And this is the one who's making our medical protocol for our babies. And to make it clear, I'm going to read an excerpt from his book where he describes how to perform this procedure. So here's the excerpt from Dr. Kellogg's book titled,
Plain Facts for the Young and Old. Point 2. Masturbation. In younger children with whom moral considerations will have no particular weight, other devices may be used. Bandaging the parts has been practiced with success. Tying the hands is also successful in some cases, but this will not always succeed, for they will often contrive to continue the habit in other ways, as by working with the limbs or lying upon the abdomen. Covering the organ with a cage has been practiced with entire success. A remedy which is almost always successful in small boys is circumcision, especially when there is any degree of phimosis. The operation will be performed without administering anesthetic, as the brief pain attending the operation will have a salutary effect upon the mind, especially if it be connected with the idea of punishment, as it may well be in some cases. The soreness which continues for several weeks interrupts the practice, and if it had not been previously become too firmly fixed, it may be forgotten and not resumed.
So there you have it. Dr. Kellogg wanted to intentionally perform this procedure on the most sensitive part of a person's body, no anesthetic, also with the understanding that this is going to cause permanent changes in the brain and discourage this child from ever touching themselves. So with that intention, why would we want to keep going along with this? Why does it still exist today? Well, update on that. Medically, circumcision is justified because it prevents UTIs, STIs, HIV. So the big thing here is having skin covering the opening of the penis, right? Have this damp skin, definite candidate for bacterial growth. But if you guys think about like who else has all this skin around their hole where they could also get UTIs, STIs, HIV, if we were going along the same thought pattern. Women, right? Women's urethras are a lot shorter than men. So if they are prone to these things and circumcision is a preventative measure for that, then why is there no preventative measures for women? I think it's bullshit. Based on my research, my conversations, that aesthetics is a major reason why circumcision still exists. Nobody wants to have skin over their head. It looks weird. I don't know. Like many other things, we have grown unaccustomed to our natural form. We've grown unaccustomed to breasts sagging. We've grown unaccustomed to our belly jiggling. But it all ties into the fact that we do not honor our natural forms. Social acceptance is a big reason why circumcision continues today. Nobody wants to have their son being made fun of because he has a natural penis. Like, ha ha, your dick has extra skin. Why am I looking at it and making fun of you? Do we ever ask that question? So instead of cutting off, mutilating our little men's penises, how about we teach our children to be accepting of bodies of people who don't look like them? So anyways, cutting off your dick skin is not something you should do to fit in. And I know porn culture has a lot to do with that. We see these perfectly pruned dicks on porn, and we see these perfectly pruned vaginas on porn, and that promotes women to get labiaplasty. So like Dr. Kellogg mentioned in this article about phimosis, That is when the skin does not fully retract past the glands of the penis, the head, and then it's stuck there. So even that doesn't always justify circumcision. There's steroid cream, there's stretching devices that you can do instead of snipping away the most sensitive part of your penis. So speaking of sensitivity, when an infant is circumcised, he loses 70% of his sensitivity. And of course, growing up, he's not gonna know that, oh, I only have 20% of what I'm supposed to have. Is that the right math? Fuck, it's supposed to be 30. This is why I'm not a math teacher. And for the ones who are circumcised in infancy, they're not gonna grow up saying, you know, I only have 30% of what I'm supposed to have. They don't know any better because you only know with what you grew up with. So foreskin itself is more than just foreskin. It's not just some extra flab that you can just toss away. It's full of muscle bundles, blood vessels, nerves, and these cells have a function. They also have a maturity process to go through. So what we do when we perform infant circumcision is we cut off this immature tissue that had a very big job as he continued to develop with this man. So you've cut off a huge part of this man's development by cutting off his foreskin. So the job of a foreskin, let me tell you, it's amazing. Let me get my thing out, actually. So here's my dick. I had to search long and hard for this dick because it has movable skin. Look at that. Woo. The amazing part of the foreskin. Let me show you. So my hand is a yoni, okay? When man's going inside woman, do you see what's happening here? Woo! The skin is bunching up. And at this part right here, this would be my G-spot. What's happening is he bunches up on the G-spot and provides friction, provides pressure so that she can have a G-spot orgasm. She can squirt. The second one is it seals in the lubricant. Usually this is what happens, flicking out the moisture. Uncircumcised penis. Natural guy, he goes in there and he's like, nah, seal that shit up. Keep that moisture in there, and I'm just gonna make a slurry. That's what they do. What the foreskin also does is it protects the glands. So without the foreskin covering it and protecting it, the head of the penis becomes callous, chafes. Every time we wear pants, running in track, running in sports, chafing. Over time, this is going to desensitize. As sensitive as most of you guys understand your head to be, imagine it being even more sensitive. Exponentially sensitive. The other special feature of foreskin is that it has these special cells called Meissner's corpuscles. Those are very sensitive to light touch. So that's when this light, feathery caressing of the penile skin comes into play, because you can really pick up on the subtlest sensations with really light touch, even just blowing on it. So Meissner's corpuscles make that possible. They're found in the frenulum, the folds, your lips, your fingertips. Even on women, our homologous structure to a prepuce, foreskin would be the clitoral hood. Some of us have it, some of us don't. But what it does is the clitoral hood provides friction to the head of the clitoris during intercourse. So every part on our body has an amazing function, especially. So let's talk about these permanent changes that circumcision has on the brain and how that relates to today's societal issues, especially with our unhealthy expression of masculine energy. So MRI studies have shown that there are permanent changes on the brain in the areas of emotion, reasoning, and perception. So nurses that take care of these circumcised babies, they notice patterns in their behavior. It's harder to feed them, it's harder to console them. There's a definite change in the bonding of a child after he's had his circumcision done. It's harder to bond with the mother, harder to cultivate trust. And if you think about it, like the baby just got here, right? Like you've been here for a week and we want to strap him to a vise, give him an anesthetic that we don't even know for sure works. Most likely does not work based on the reports of the grimacing, the screaming, some babies passing out in pain. Think about how you would feel. Put yourself in the shoes, the booties of that baby. And that's one thing too, is babies cannot consent for themselves. They don't know. They can't say, don't cut on my dick. I want to use that when I get older. And that's the unfair part, is that these are permanent changes that you're making to their adulthood as an infant, and they can't even say no to you. So I think it's the biggest advocate for that would be the parents to understand, first have education. I think education will take care of a lot of this, because nobody's going to want to cut off their babies sensitivity. I want to cut off their ability to emotionally connect. So yes, I believe if we can stop circumcising little men, that they will grow up to be healthier, more vulnerable, more emotionally connected, more compassionate men. We can't deny the fact that if we inflict this trauma on an infant child, that it can, most likely will permanently change them, alter them, alter their interaction with their reality for the rest of their lives. So it's really up to the parents to advocate and to understand, have the education to make the best choices for their kids. And that's what this video is for. Because circumcision is not going to be cut off by the medical system. It makes money. There's actually products that use the fibroblast, the cells of the foreskin, because you got this nice fresh skin that stretches and does magical things. You can make great products out of that to keep you young and tight. And so that's what they do. Baby foreskin is harvested, it's sold, it's used in markets in the UK. It's used in this treatment called hydrofacials. So don't think that there's not money behind the motivation for circumcision. There's always money behind motivation for something, right? So the other major reason why circumcision is popular, continues to go on today, is for hygiene. And as a woman, I can empathize with that because we were raised to be very diligent about our hygiene. You be smelling it, clean between the lips. You gotta make sure it's dry. I'm gonna give you some tips to make sure that your hygiene is in order, you feel confident, and we can start to heal our relationships with natural penises. So tip number one, the owner of the penis is always the first one to retract the foreskin. And that's something that happens naturally, right? It doesn't just wake up and poof. So naturally, through puberty, growing up, the foreskin will retract. And inside, it's connected with connective tissue. That'll start to slough off. You see some white, some cheese, moisture. That's all natural. Keep it clean, keep it dry, but just don't yank it back. As the man gets older, starts to retract naturally. That's when you really want to pull it back as far as it goes, clean, and put it back, right? Put it back because you want to keep that protection. What the foreskin also does, because it is in this protective sheath, this is what a lot of men call their practice vagina. This sheath-like sensation that you're able to move in and out of your own skin helps you connect with the sensitivity, the vulnerability of a woman, of the womb. When you have no practice vagina, there is no experience of being in the practice vagina or being in a vagina besides once you actually get into one. Foreskin actually helps us to connect with our feminine energy. And what we do when we circumcise baby boys is we cut off part of that feminine energy. We cut off that connection to it. That makes it harder to reconnect. Remember that circumcision started with a man who hated sex and did not want baby boys to masturbate. So he hurt them enough to discourage them. Also remember that circumcision causes permanent changes to the brain for perception, emotions, and reasoning. All things that we need to be compassionate humans, to have healthy relationships. And then the last thing is clean, be clean. Nobody wants to put their mouth on a dirty biscuit or a sausage. So let's make sure that we are considerate of each other's pleasure. Let's feel confident about what we look like, because that's how we were born and how amazing all those parts function and provide pleasure for us. So, and if you agree with me, or if this video changes your mind and gives you the information you need to agree with me, then like it, share it, spread the word. Use the hashtag, may the foreskin be with you. That's from my friend Nelson, my little rock climbing friend in Washington. Thank you for that idea. And if you are a man who has been circumcised and you're happy with your penis, that's beautiful, you should be. A man who has been circumcised who is not happy with his penis, maybe you feel some sort of disconnection, lack of sensation. There's definitely things you can do to fix that. That'll help you to reawaken your penis to sensation, emotionally help you reconnect, because that's really where it is the emotional connection. And then getting those dots lined up. That's really what it's all about. We want our minds, our emotions, sexuality to be all in one accord. That's how we feel empowered. So look me up, www.absolutetantra.com, and also follow me on Instagram, Tantra with Courtney. So remember to use the hashtag, may the foreskin be with you. Like, share this, really spread the word for the future of our men, future of our baby boys, because it doesn't make sense for us to continue to do this while we also want to encourage the healing of our nation, having healthy relationships. This is part of it. Let's stop cutting off the baby dicks. I will see you guys next time. Have a beautiful day. Lead with love.